This is chapter 7, and it's called I Can't Do This Alone. This is going to be a fairly detailed chapter because so much is going on and has already gone on by this point as far as my mother's health and her different illnesses has been concerned. Now, Mommy has been diagnosed with the illnesses, with the severe spinal stenosis, and with the vascular dementia. But also by this point, it's been months and months, and the different medical interventions that had taken place have been exhausted. She's had the surgery. It wasn't successful because of the experience within the rehab facility where she had become infected. That meant that her physical therapy couldn't go forward because she couldn't move any longer, which rendered her immobile. And there really wasn't a whole lot more that could be done for Mommy. So now the focus had to be primarily on her quality of life and where that life was going to take place, how she would live. Would she live with her children? Would she be in a facility? Would she take turns living with each one of her children? I lived with my sister at that time, and my brothers had their own homes. The only thing that we were really certain of was that we didn't want Mommy in a facility, but we really hadn't discussed it in detail. We didn't really know what was going to happen because up to this point, we were just exhausting everything else that we could possibly do for Mommy's care. So finally, the staff at one of the rehab facilities, they sat down with me and with my brothers and my sister, and they talked to us honestly about what Mommy was going to require. And they said that Mommy was going to require 24-hour care, that she was going to need a team of people as she had within the rehab facilities or when she was in the hospital. And after they talked to us, then my brothers sat down with me along with my sister, and they said that they were willing to rent a condo for me and for Mommy if I was willing to be Mommy's primary caregiver, and that being Mommy's primary caregiver would mean that of course Mommy would need to have somebody that was with her on a regular basis, but that I wouldn't be alone in her care, that we would take turns. Everybody would have days, designated days, when they would help with Mommy's care. And so they talked to me about the condo, which I thought wasn't a bad idea. And if we were able to find a condo to rent, we would look for something that would be in close proximity to the hospital where Mommy's doctors were. And that hospital was Old St. Mary's Hospital, which wound up being 5 minutes away from the condo, so that was perfect in case there was an emergency. And so we're talking about this. I'm talking about this with my brothers. We're all agreeing that everybody is going to help. And I'm listening, but at this point, I'm not really convinced. And I'm not really convinced because my brothers are doctors, and so I know they're going to be extremely busy. My sister is disabled, and she uses a walker and sometimes a wheelchair. So I'm thinking, how is this going to work? How where is the help going to come from on their end? I just didn't see it, and I was scared. I was scared to death because I'm seeing how mommy is cared for within these facilities, and I'm knowing I'm just one person. But I'm still listening because I don't see any recourse. It's like there was a non-choice. To me, it was analogous to saying, all right, you have the choice of running into traffic or jumping out of a window. Either way, it's going to be bad. That's how I was thinking. But in actuality, it wasn't bad. It was a lot of different things. It wound up being a lot of different things. It was bad. It was happy. It was frightening. It was enlightening. It was a blessing. It was everything. It was every emotion that you could possibly conceive of that I went through with mommy. And so we decided ultimately that we would have the condo. I would be the primary caregiver, and we would start to arrange for mommy's homecoming to the condo. So that meant I would need to learn how to feed mommy because she had a feeding tube. So I had to learn how to operate that. Mommy had, because she had stopped eating, she had a catheter, so I had to learn how to empty the bag and take care of that. Mommy was immobile, so I had to learn how to change her, of course. Everything had to be ordered for mommy, so the hospital bed had to be delivered to the condo, along with a wheelchair, along with a patient lift, which would be a manual one, along with diapers and underpads and other medical supplies. Everything had prearranged in time for mommy's discharge from the facility to the condo. I also had to make sure that the condo was ready for mommy, so I cleaned it. I spent a couple of weeks cleaning. My brothers delivered furniture to the condo. It was a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom condo, so mommy's room was down the hall from mine. Her bathroom was right next to her room, which was really convenient for when I had to wash her or do other things. There was a closet that I used for mommy's medical supplies. There was ample space, and it was a beautiful little condo. And my room, as I said, was down the hall. I had my own bathroom. But because I was down the hall from mommy, I was walking up and down the hall. I would say it seemed like hundreds of times every day for about 8 months until mommy died. It was constant. I had a caregiver, not a caregiver, yes, an in-home in-home caregiver. So it was the kind of person that would come in. She came in 4 times a week. She was absolutely wonderful. 4 days a week, 4 hours a day. But she was there for cleaning purposes, to prepare meals, to run errands, but she could not do anything to help with mommy. She would sit with mommy and pray with mommy, which mommy liked, or she would talk to mommy, which gave me a chance to take a nap or take a shower. She never had to clean because I'm like my mother, so I was very meticulous about how things were done, how things were cleaned. I cooked for mommy. I did all of that. I wasn't comfortable with somebody else doing those things. I did those things, and I wanted to do those things for my mother. So Patricia, that was her name, she she kept mommy company and laughed with her and sang to her. She was wonderful, absolutely wonderful. She still is in contact with me, and mommy has been gone for almost 2.5 years. And I also had a counselor that would come in once a week to talk to me as a caregiver and to talk to mommy to make sure that mommy was doing okay, but also that I was okay emotionally. So everything, as I said, it was in place. Everything was ready for mommy to come to the condo, and it was an adventure. That's putting it mildly. It was an adventure, but it was an adventure that made me realize that I could do exactly what was necessary to do for mommy. That I didn't require a team of people as I'd been told. All I needed was me and mommy. We worked as a team. If I needed to change mommy, I mean, it took time in the beginning, but when we got our system down, I did the laundry when mommy slept. I showered when mommy slept. I tried to get a little sleep when mommy slept. Mommy's clothes were on hangers. The towels I used, I had like 50, 60 different size towels that I would use. Everything was folded. Everything was in her drawers neatly. Anything that I had to do, I did in advance. And I'm going to give a lot of advice as to how to do certain things at the very end of this audio series, things that I think might be helpful to other caregivers. I had a with mommy. If mommy pooped on herself, pooped in her diaper, mommy knew, okay, mommy, reach over and you grab hold of the rail on one side. She would pull her body over. I would change her. I would scoop that diaper underneath her. I would go on the other side. Mommy would grab the rail on the opposite side. I would clean her on that. I mean, we had our thing down pat. We were a team, and we had God, and we were a team, and we loved each other. And when mommy pooped, which seems to scare people, the fact that a loved one is going to poop and they might have to change them. They're thinking about, how am I going to change an adult? The smell is going to be horrific. When you love someone, you don't smell anything. I mean, you smell it, but it doesn't bother you because your primary focus is making your loved one comfortable. Almost like when you're a baby. When your baby poops, you're just laughing with the baby and you're like, hey, you're talking in the little baby talk and that high-pitched sound, and you're saying to the baby, oh, let me clean that little tushy. You're so white, mommy loves you and all that. You don't smell. You're not thinking, oh, this reeks of shit. I don't want to touch this. You're not thinking that. You're thinking, that's my baby. I love my baby. And you're talking to the baby, and the baby is smiling at you, and you're changing their little poopy diaper, and you're kissing their little tushy and putting powder on it. It's no different. It was no different for me when I was taking care of mommy. Absolutely no different. I was changing her. I was putting ointment on her so that she wouldn't get bed sores. I was talking to her. I was making jokes with her. I was letting her know that she was loved and she was going to be okay, and we were going to be okay. And we were okay. Was it hard? Yes. Was it scary? Yes. Were there times when I thought, I can't do this anymore by myself? Absolutely. Were there times when I called my sister and my brothers crying, saying I can't do this by myself anymore, and I'm calling them at 2 a.m? Absolutely. Were there then times when I said, my mother's not going into a facility, definitely. And she never did. When she did leave this world, she left this world holding my hand and holding the hand of my daughter, Mariah, who my mother loved and who Mommy took care of from the time my daughter was born. That's how my mother went away. She went away with me and with my daughter. But she started her journey at the condo with me, and she ended the journey with me and holding my hand and listening to Johnny Mathis, who she adored. That's the end of this chapter. If I think of more that I wanted to mention, then there will be a part 2 with this chapter.